consciousness. Mataji has been instrumental from the very first early days of Krishna consciousness in the Western world. When Prabhupada started the movement, Mataji, along with other uh, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, traveled and established temples in various places. The most famous one has been the temple established in London, and she has been exemplary in serving Srila Prabhupada. In spite of her services for the last 50 years, we've been seeing that her services have not stopped. Her day starts early in the morning. Once Srila Prabhupada had mentioned to her on her question when she asked, how can we do so many services? And Prabhupada mentioned, maybe you should sleep less. And Mataji took it so much to the heart. She wakes up real early, and she is really a big inspiration for so many of the devotees like us who've been, in the early stages, just trying to follow the footsteps of devotees like her. So I know we have very less time. We would love to hear from her, so I'll stop. There are a lot more things to share, but I'll let Mataji speak because we want to maximize this time. So thank you all devotees for joining, and very, very grateful to you, Mataji. It means a lot to us from the busy schedule. You are, leading so many states and so many different geographical areas, head of the DBC, and still you could spare time for us. We are very grateful to you. Thank you very much.
It's actually my honor and it's my service to spend time with you, all of you. And for me, it is very wonderful to have all of your association. I appreciate it very much. So today I actually spent the day with a god sister who has, she's actually older than me. She's 89 years old. And we had a lot of discussion. And then I brought her to Pittsburgh. I had to go to Costco to get my hearing aid fixed. So we had back and forth 3 hours of driving to converse. And then I was listening to a lecture from Srila Prabhupada from first canto, 5th chapter. So I got a little inspired. Maybe I'll mention some of the things. It's 1:5:18. And for me, hearing Srila Prabhupada speak brings a lot of clarity because he never disguises anything. He speaks in such a way that is very clear. Even if people don't like what they hear in terms of like, what, you mean I have to do this, But Prabhupada is always speaking clearly so that we can get the best advantage to become Krishna conscious. We get the best opportunity of becoming Krishna conscious by listening to Prabhupada, so highly recommend. So this verse from Bhagavatam is from the first canto, 5th chapter. And I came upon, I was reading some different parts of that canto, and I came upon a very wonderful statement by Srila Prabhupada. So this particular 5th chapter is where Narada Muni is giving the succinct directions to Vyasadeva, who was going through a moment of, you could say, self-doubt. He wasn't feeling satisfied, And so Vyasadeva was advised by Narada Muni to describe the science of God directly by relating his transcendental activities. And here's the sentence that Prabhupada, he said, Vyasadeva himself is a personality expert in this science. And he says, he is unattached to material enjoyment. Therefore, he is the right person to describe it, meaning the science of Krishna consciousness. And Sukadeva Goswami the son of Vyasadeva is the right person to hear it. So every time you pick up Bhagavatam, there is something there that you have not, that didn't reach your mind yet. You've probably read it, and then suddenly you read it again, and this is amazing. Vyasadeva is a personality expert in this transcendental science. A nice description. So Bhagavatam 1:5:18. What time, how much time do I have? Because then I got to pace myself.
Mataji, actually, we are a little considerate about your schedule. We have a lot of time, but I know you prefer to end a little early. And we have some children here who would like to offer their love by sharing some shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita also. So towards the later part, we can do that. So Mataji, totally up to your time.
So I'll move things along as fast as I can. Maybe I won't get through everything, but we can.
Do you want me to share the shloka on the screen for everybody? Is that needed?
Probably not. We can just.
Sure.
I'll just read the verse. I'll just read the translation, and we'll move along. If you want to share, no problem. But as soon as I finish the purport, remove it because I have some notes. So if you want to put it up, okay. But then as soon as I finish the purport, then take it down. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Waiting. 1, 1, 5. No, it's Canto 1. Yeah, okay. And then the 18th verse. Yeah, okay, here we go. Oh, it's a little small. Can you make it slightly larger? Okay, good. That's good, that's good. Tasyaiva hito prayete takovido nalabhyate brahmatam uparyada talabhyate dukha havajata anyata sukham kalena sarvatra gambiram hasa. So just pull the translation up. Can you pull up the translation? Yeah. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not attainable even by wandering from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. Push up a bit. Purport. Okay. Every man, everywhere, is trying to obtain the greatest amount of sense enjoyment by various endeavors. Some men are busy, engaged in trade, in industry, economic development, political supremacy. We have just experienced that one for sure, etc. And some of them are engaged in fruitive work to become happy in the next life by attaining higher planets. It is said that on the moon, the inhabitants are fit for greater sense enjoyment by drinking somaras. And in the picture, Loka is obtained by good charitable work. So there are various programs for sense enjoyment, either during this life or in life after death. Some are trying to reach the moon or other planets by some mechanical arrangement, for they are very anxious to get into such planets without doing good work. But it is not to happen. By the law of the Supreme, different places are meant for different grades of living beings according to the work they have performed. By good work only, as prescribed in the scriptures, one can obtain birth in a good family, opulence, good education, good bodily features. We also see that even in this life, one obtains a good education, or money by good work. And similarly, in our next birth, we get such desirable positions only by good work. Otherwise, it would not so happen that two persons born in the same place at the same time are seen differently according to previous work. But all such material positions are impermanent. The positions in the topmost Brahma Loka in the low and the lowest Patala are also changeable according to our work. The philosophically inclined person must not be tempted by such changeable positions. He should try to get into the permanent life of bliss and knowledge, where he will not be forced to come back again to the miserable material world, either in this or that planet. Miseries and mixed happiness are two features of material life, and they are obtained in Brahmaloka and other lokas also. They are obtained in the life of the demigods and also in the lives of the hogs and dogs. The miseries and mixed happiness of all living beings are only of different degree and quality, but no one is free from the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. Similarly, everyone has his destined happiness also. No one can get more or less of these things simply by personal endeavors. Even if they are obtained, they can be lost again. Therefore, one should not waste time with these flimsy things. One should only endeavor to go back to Godhead. That should be the mission of everyone's life. Okay, so now you can remove it. Okay, thank you. Om Gyantimirandasya Janana Sakalaya Chaktum Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachadasatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vansha Kalpatarubhyasa Kripa Sindhu Maye Vicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So again, thank you for inviting me to speak, and probably most of you could speak much more eloquently than myself, but I'm basically going to be repeating the words of Srila Prabhupada, which are most enlightening. And Prabhupada was explaining in this particular verse, so I was hearing him speak about this verse, and he was explaining how Narada Muni, he was advising Vyasadeva, Tasyaiva hetu prayayeta kovida. So this kovida means intelligent, expert, and one who knows things as they are. So this is this kovida. So it's our duty, actually our only duty, to use our intelligence in such a way that we become fully attracted to Krishna and we become disinterested in the temporary material activities. So this is indicated by Narada Muni, how to achieve full Krishna consciousness. So the statement of the Bhagavatam that talabhyate dukkha vad antya sukham, don't try for so-called economic development. You, you cannot have more than you're destined to get. It's already settled up. We come with a ticket in life. You don't see the ticket, but we have this, the minute we're born, there's so many things that are already there, set out. And as our life goes along, we may try to do one thing or the other. And sometimes it becomes a conflict. And that conflict is there because we're going against what is already destined for us. Many times devotees are thinking, well, if I make more money, then I can do more things for Krishna. And then they get caught up. And I know many devotees who have tried this, let me tell you. And even Srila Prabhupada initially tried, let me get some money and then I can do more. But Krishna let him get some money and then he took it all away. And because you have so much allotted. And you will see different standards of living conditions according to our past karma, this daiva nitrena karmana. That's the nature's law, and we can't change it. It's destined that we're going to have different varieties of life, different positions, etc. And this Vishaya Kalo Sarvatashat, this is like the material enjoyment means. What does material enjoyment means? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And then each one of these things gets expanded on according to our different inclinations. But the only really difference is that standard. If I'm eating something, you're eating something, maybe in my calculation, what you're eating is not very good. Or in your calculation, you're thinking what she's eating is not very good. I mean, even now among devotees, you've got the vegetarian devotees, you've got the vegan devotees, and they're like, at odds with each other. But the activity is the same thing as eating. So we have created this idea of good standard, bad standard. This is good, this is nice, this is bad. That's our mental concoction. And the Chaitanya Chaitamrita says this, Dvaite Bhadra drug sale sakale samana. So this is good, this is bad, but actually it's the same thing. Also in Bhagavad Gita, Sitoshna Sukha Dukada, that it's due to the skin. We are feeling warm, sometimes feeling cold. Material nature, same thing. So in the same way, our feelings of happiness and distress, it's like the feeling of the warmth and the cold. Due to the skin, due to the contact of this body, Krishna says, Dukhalayam asashvatam, 8:15, that this is a place of misery. We're trying to adjust things, but there is no adjustment to be made except in our consciousness. This material world is just a result of our mental creation. This is happiness, this is distress, but it's all distress. And after all, at the end, we have to die. We have to finish this business. What is this, happiness or distress? The Bhagavatam says, don't bother yourself to make yourself happy working day or night without trying for Krishna consciousness. Simply a waste of time. No question of happiness in this material world. If you want to become happy, Ananda Mayo Vyasat. If you want to be happy in this human life, only in this human life can we actually execute Krishna consciousness very nicely. In other forms, it can't happen. And it's actually only in Krishna consciousness that we'll actually experience what is real happiness. Just like as a young person, I was caught up in the hippie movement for some time. And the hippies were very desperately looking for love and peace. Sounds very good. Love, peace, But we weren't finding it. And it was becoming really frustrating. You know, we thought we were going to be different than our parents and our grandparents. We just saw them working hard and not being happy. And we thought we're not going to be like that. But we didn't know what to be, how to be. We didn't know. We didn't even, we wanted to be happy, but we had no clue what was happiness. But clue how to find it. Um, because it's not here in the material world. In my first meeting with Srila Prabhupada, when he was addressing the devotees in January 17th, 1967 in San Francisco, he said, there is no love in this material world. It was a brave thing to say at that time because everybody's love, peace, they were going, like we were going, Hare Krishna, and they will go love, peace. This was like a peace symbol, but they weren't finding it, couldn't find it, didn't know how to find it, didn't know how to recognize it. So this Krishna consciousness movement is here to teach us how to reconnect with Krishna and actually experience real love, real peace. And it may be, in this human form of life, I can execute Krishna consciousness very nicely, and in other forms of life, it's not so. So why should we waste this chance? Why should we spoil this chance? In the next verse, it's explaining Navajano Zato Katam Chanavrajan Mukunda Sedya Anyavad Anga Samshritam Smaram Mukundangari Upaguhanam Hunarvi Hatum Mishanarasakahozana. And even though a devotee of the Lord sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like other people, because once having relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord, this Mukundangri, you can do nothing but remember that beautiful ecstasy again and again. Sometimes devotee will ask me, when I first came and I was first chanting, it was so amazing. And now sometimes I don't feel that same bliss. What's happened? But the fact is, that moment that we got that taste is never lost. And it's a real thing. The taste hasn't been lost. It's still there, but sometimes we become re-involved with our material activities. As a devotee, there's no such thing as a material activity. Because why? A devotee is doing everything for Krishna. But sometimes we kind of weaken up, slack up a little bit. And so it could be that sometimes there's a little fall down, maybe not a big one, but some fall down. And even I know of people, they've tried to get away. They want to run away from Krishna, but it can't happen because they've had that little taste, that one little taste, that one little glimpse. And they try to run and then they remember that and they have to come back again. Krishna consciousness is so nice that, once it's adopted, we cannot become degraded like an ordinary man. And that is, stated this anyavat. It doesn't undergo that. Even a devotee falls down. He may be doing some activity like a karmi, but it's not the same thing. It'll never be the same thing because once they have tasted and experienced Krishna consciousness, sooner or later, Krishna's going to come and say, okay, time's up, and pull you back again. So the stress is given here that you take to Krishna consciousness, you preach Krishna consciousness some way or other. But the three verses is the 18 and 19 and before 18, 17. So these three together, they're stressing that even if you fall down, there's no harm, just take to Krishna consciousness and stick with it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also saying this, Yadi Dekitari Kaha Krishna Upadesh, that whoever you meet, you simply try to make them convinced or preach the importance of Krishna consciousness. Somehow or other, just become connected to Krishna, take to Krishna conscious, and then our life becomes perfect. And even if there is some moment of bewilderness, Krishna is still there, waiting for us to turn around. So in this lecture Prabhupada was given, it happened to be in New Vrindavan. So he was mentioning that some of the people, this was, back in the 70s, before most of you were born probably. So he was mentioning some people have dogs. So they're keeping company with the dogs. And what's happening is the dog's life is becoming perfect because the dogs are hearing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the dogs are hearing, taking this prasadam. And so then Prabhupada explained, it may be that some pious person somehow or other has become a dog. Now Krishna's giving them the association of the devotees. So in other words, not ordinary dogs. He's eating prasadam, he's hearing, he's chanting. The devotees told me at that time when Prabhupada was speaking this, that there was one dog came every night and he would be right by the window. And sometimes he would put his little paws up and look in the window and he would start to make noise when the chanting went on. Like he was trying to chant. The dog was trying to chant, not ordinary dogs. And Prabhupada mentioned, like even the cows, the horses, they're not ordinary, And we know that, like in New Vrindavan, of course, we have protected cows. And our cows live very, very long lives because they're not disturbed. They don't have to fear for death. So in another part, there's a mention of the duties of mankind. So we have a lot of duties, innumerable duties. And it's from Bhagavatam, it says, every man is duty bound, not only to his parents, his family members, just like here's one mother with her little son. So the parent, the family members, society, country, humanity, other living beings, we're all duty bound, even the demigods. Also to great philosophers, poets, and scientists. So it's enjoined in the scriptures that one can relinquish, we can give up all such duties and obligations and surrender to the service of the Lord. And if one does this, then one becomes successful in the discharge of devotional service to the Lord. But even then, somehow, one who has surrendered by some temporary sentiment or due to so many reasons could fall from the path, mostly maybe by undesirable association. But still, anyone who has associated in Krishna consciousness just cannot forget this raso grahajana, that taste. You cannot give up that taste. You may try, but it's not going to happen. Due to Maya's influence, there may be some period, like some time out, but it can't remain. And Prabhupada gives a really wonderful example. He goes, just like hot sugar juice, it's very nice. But because it's hot, like you may be a little uncomfortable in the mouth, but at the same time, because it's sweet, you cannot stop the drinking. So in the same way, this Krishna consciousness is so nice that if somebody becomes attracted by some kind of Maya influence, still, he does not like to give up Krishna conscious. And even if temporarily he's bewildered, he will return. This is a guarantee. So this is a specific qualification of a Krishna conscious person, this smaram makundangriyupa guhanam pana, that once chanting Hare Krishna, can't give it up, have to come back this life or the next. And Krishna doesn't leave. Krishna doesn't leave his devotee. Once surrendered to Krishna sincerely, which is Krishna, I'm yours. Krishna won't leave us. He'll protect us. He says, you surrender unto me and I will protect you. Have no fear. He doesn't say, do this, do that, then surrender unto me. That's it. He'll protect us. So one maybe falls away or he gets a little weak temporarily. But after becoming a little stronger, then there's no question of falling down. This rasa gara rasena grihayate Krishna vasikriyate. So this vasikriyate means hypnotize. So this is very interesting. It's so nice that one becomes hypnotized by Krishna. It's Krishna hypnotism, that he is so attractive that we become hypnotized and we don't want to leave him. And what is one of the meanings of Krishna is all attractive. So he hypnotizes his devotees so that they become intimately connected with him. And yet sometimes there can be some disruption. So example, like the Pandavas, Krishna's friends. Arjuna was his friend, and all the brothers were Krishna's friends. But most intimate friend was Arjuna. And then, of course, Kunti, the Pandava's mother, happened to be Krishna's aunt. So they were all very, established in a relationship with Krishna. But what happened to them? We all know they were banished for 12 years. Krishna's dearmost friends. What happened? They lost the game of dice. Their wife Draupadi was insulted. They lost their kingdom. Just 12 years banished. Narada had a meeting with Krishna face to face. And because he was Krishna's devotee and dearmost friend, he could speak very frankly to Krishna. And so he was speaking with a little hint of criticism. My dear Krishna, by becoming your devotee, the Pandavas were very happy. And now they've lost their kingdom. Their wife was insulted. They're banished for 12 years. Is that a very good thing? Then he goes, but the wonderful thing I see now is, in spite of all inconveniences, is that their love for you has increased. So Narada was astonished. What kind of hypnotism are you doing? In spite of being placed in so much inconvenience, their love for you has increased. That was the position of the Pandavas. And this is Krishna consciousness, that the pure devotee, even if put into difficulty, they will take it. Oh, this is Krishna's grace. This is Krishna's grace. We take it that way. Krishna, I have to suffer 100 times more than is due to my bad activities in my past life, but you're giving me only little. This is your grace. And we all know this beautiful verse from the 10th canto, this Tate nukampam susamik samano bhujana vetma kritam vipakam ridva vapurbir vidatam namaste jivaitayo mukti pade sadaya bhakta. My dear Lord, one who earnestly awaits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So therefore it's said that anyone who's become this Narayana Para, Krishna conscious, is never afraid of any condition of life. In Gita, Krishna says, Jasmin stitona dukena vichalayate. If one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he's never disturbed, even if he's put in the most severe difficulty. So Prabhupada said, our program is that Krishna is always very kind upon us, but we have to be willing to take Krishna's favor. Sometimes people say, I want the mercy, and then Krishna, all right, here's the mercy. Oh no, not that. Prabhupada gave the example of his Guru Maharaj, who gives the example like there's a well, this Kupen, so there's a well and somebody's falling out and he's crying, help, help, get me out, get me out, get me out. So somebody drops a strong rope. Okay, grab this rope, hold tightly, I'm gonna pull you out. And the guy goes, no, I can't do that. Well, then how is it going to be saved? There has to be some endeavor on our part. Perhaps capture the rope and you'll be lifted out. So in the same way, Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Paritvaja Mamakam Sarvanam Vraja. We have to do something. We have to surrender. And then everything's there. That's the only request. So if we don't use our independence to help ourselves out of the well, how can we expect to be lifted out? One time Radhanath Swami was giving a nice experience that he had in um, in India, near Varshana, and he was sleeping just on the ground, and he had a friend, a local sadhu, and every night they would just sleep on the ground. And then one night he sees the sadhu had a stick, kind of a little stick, and he goes, "Oh, what is this little stick for?" And the sadhu says, "Well, the Brajbasis are telling that they saw a tiger." "Oh, a tiger? What are you going to do? Little stick, tiny little. I can't do anything. But if Radharani sees I'm making an endeavor, then she'll help." So that is the position. When the Krishna sees that we're making an endeavor, he will protect us. He'll help us. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says this, Manasa deho geho jokin shumor apilin tu apade Nanda Kishore. So this Nanda Kishore is another name of Krishna. And but this word, this Nanda Kishore, means the young boy of Nanda Maharaj. So Bhaktivinoda is addressing my dear Nanda Kishore, young son of Nanda Maharaj. My mind, my body, my family, manasa deho geho yokinchu. Whatever I'm thinking it's mine. This body's mine. The home is mine. Family is mine. Whatever I've got in my possession, now I am surrendering unto you. I'm giving you my family, my home, my body, my mind, everything, and whatever you like, you do it. So this is like a good lesson. This is a prototype. Here, Krishna, I'm giving you. I'm yours. You take care, whatever you do. And Krishna will take care. Once he sees, here is my bhakta, and my bhakta is surrendering to me. Oh. It's also stated in Bhagavad Gita, this yatate chatato bhuyasam siddho, that the percentage which one finishes this life is not lost. Prabhu says there may be 50, 40, 30%, whatever we've executed in Krishna consciousness is never lost. So in the next birth, we immediately pick up by that point again. And one time, it was in 1968, around January, there was a young man who was coming. He had been coming for a little while now, and he was quite inquisitive. So we had a large program, which turned out not to be as large as we expected. But Prabhupada spoke very forcefully anyway. And then afterwards he asked, well, any questions? So this young man, he asked a question, and he wanted to know what happens if I don't finish. I make an effort to become Krishna conscious, but somehow I don't finish up. And Prabhupada was explaining like this, and nothing is lost. He says, like it's a spiritual bank account. In the mundane bank account, you can lose your money, but whatever you put in the spiritual bank account, it will always be there. And you stop, but the next time you start again from the same point. So he said to the young man, so is that all right? And the young man said, yes. And eventually this young man became initiated, and he became Tamal Krishna Goswami, who was one of the very top persons to help and assist Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada gives the example of Bilvamangala Thakur. Bilvamangala Thakur was, in his previous life, very highly advanced. He was up to the stage of Bhava Bhakti, great feeling for Krishna, and had been raised a Brahmana, but somehow or other he fell down. But it's assured in the Bhagavad Gita, the 641, the Suchinam Sri Matam Gehe Yoga Brashto Bi Jayate. So even if such a Krishna conscious person falls down, you get this chance in a nice Brahmana family, or Suchi, Brahmana, pure family, rich family. Actually, Prabhupada told us that this verse applies to all of us, that we had taken our birth here in America. At that time was not like now, it was a respected nation. And so it was actually a favor of Krishna that we were taking our birth here. But we have to return the favor by teaching people about Krishna. So this Bilvamangala, he was in a rich Brahmana family, but somehow or other, he got addicted to a prostitute, and he couldn't finish his business, and he fell down. But then, at an opportune moment, he again got Krishna consciousness, and it's a very interesting story. Um, okay, I know you want me to save some time, but I'll tell this little story. That what was happening, he was performing the Shraddha ceremony for his father, but he had this girlfriend, this prostitute. So he was doing the whole ceremony quickly because he was thinking about the girl, the prostitute. And it started to rain, like, as we say, raining cats and dogs, heavily raining. And he's on the road, and then the road was flooded, and he had to cross a river, and he saw a log, and he jumps on the log, but he was so maddened by his desire to be with this woman that he didn't see it wasn't a log at all. It was a dead body, and he crossed the river. And then he was in such a hurry, he wanted to climb up to the prostitute's floor, and he sees like a rope, and he grabs that rope, but then it's not a rope, it's a snake. I mean, he goes through all this trouble. And meanwhile, the prostitute's thinking, my God, it's raining like anything. He'll have to cross the river. He's certainly not going to come today. And then when she saw him at the door, she was astonished. So what did she say? She goes, Bilvamangala, how did you come here in this rain, torrents of rain? If this much affection you would have for Krishna, your life would be perfect. So here she was rebuking him that you're coming for me, this bag of skin and flesh and bones and pus and urine and stool, and you, if you had that much attachment for Krishna, oh, what a nice life. And he heard her. He somehow heard her, and immediately he goes, give me your hairpin. She gave him his hairpin. He didn't even go in the house. And he poked out his eyes and started going to Vrindavan. Now, this is not something recommended. This was very high level pastime, but the point was he had been fallen, and he was reminded at the right opportune time, if you had this much attachment for Krishna, you would be in a perfect thing. And he did not want to get distracted again. So he took out those eyes and he went to Vrindavan, and he was, would just be sitting and chanting beautifully, wasn't endeavoring for this or that or the other thing. And Krishna came one time and met him. So these are the different facilities for Krishna conscious, and the main business is that we have to take it seriously. This is the instruction of Narada, and we have to become serious. And this is the right instructions. We shouldn't try for other temporary things. They're not going to bring the happiness. Nobody expects a calamity or distress, and sometimes it happens. So whatever Krishna gives us, we should just try our best to be satisfied. And this is the basic principle of Vedic civilization, that no one was trying to make an artificial economic development. So that means our main business is how to improve our Krishna consciousness and try to avoid diverting our attention for some other temporary improvement, because it's actually not improvement anyway. It's just illusion. I'm making improvement. What's the improvement? Like we're just working harder and harder and harder to get one more chapati or something or other, And then Prabhupada was laughing. He goes, at the end, we'll all occupy the same 6 feet of bed, making kind of jokes. Is like in America, they, put people in the ground, 6 feet. So you may require the whole property of West Virginia, but still you're going to have to lie down on 6 feet. That's all. So what are we improving? So we should recognize our good fortune in having come in contact with Krishna consciousness. We shouldn't become an anxiety that we have to struggle sometimes to maintain our Krishna consciousness. Okay. The main thing is to keep going forward. And we should try to preach or try to teach other people in general that everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy, but it's not impersonal. That's the impersonal, materialist, the impersonalist material way of thinking, that um, everything, they're thinking Krishna is everything, but Krishna's energy is everywhere. It's not that everything is Krishna, but they have that idea. So, Prabhupada gave this ex- example. We can take a piece of paper, right? We could just rip it up, rip it up, rip it up, and then throw it away. And the original paper is lost. All the pieces are there, but the original paper is there. So their theory, this is the Mayavad, that Krishna is everything. He's expanded, and then he has no form. He's nothing separate. But that's not it at all. The Vedic injunction is no, not like that. This purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavasishyate, this is Upanishad, that Krishna is so full that even if he expands millions of times, he's still the same Krishna. That is Krishna. Krishna is a person. And we have to understand how Krishna, in spite of being a person, has expanded in so many universes, so many manifestations. He gives another example, like he says, actually, this is a common sense affair, like a small seed, you have a seed and a fruit. So then you put that seed in the ground, a big tree comes. And then from that big tree, more and more and more fruits come out. And each fruit, there's seeds. And so we can just see in that simple example, one seed, one tree, many fruits, and then each fruit, more seeds. And we see the potency. So how much potential is Krishna, the creator of everything? Everything is Krishna's expansion. And although he's a person, he's not like us, a limited person. He's situated in Goloka Eva Nivashate. He's enjoying in Goloka Vrindavan. And any person with a little common sense, if we hear from the right person, we can understand that. So this is what Narada is teaching to, this is Vyasadeva teaching, that the world is not different from Krishna. This Idam Vishwam Bhagavan, Krishna na Pratak, means not different. But it doesn't mean that Krishna has lost his personality. So that's the difference between the impersonal or Mayavad and the Vaishnava philosophy. The Mayavad philosophy, if the whole cosmic creation is God, then how is God separate? That's their inability, because they cannot understand. They don't hear from the right persons. That's explained in third canto, that you have to hear from the right person. If you hear from the right person, means from a devotee of Krishna, then you can understand things. But when you don't hear from a devotee of Krishna, then you become confused. So in this way, we have to study Krishna consciousness. We have to become Krishna conscious. We have to become, Prabhupada says, we have to become a little serious. Then we can understand what is what in this world. What is Krishna? What we are, and how we've expanded, how this world is created. All of this, we can understand. The answers are there. It's not like we're accepting something by sentiment, that all the reasons, all the philosophy, all the arguments, they're all there in the glorious Srimad Bhagavatam. So hopefully every one of you, I'm sure you do, but I hope you all have a set of Bhagavatams in your home, not just to decorate the shelf, but that you read them. One time I was doing a program and I mentioned, Bhagavatam, and I thought, so you have Bhagavatams? And they were proudly showed me their shelf of Bhagavatams. But I was looking and they all had the plastic cover. They had never been opened. I said, how long have you had them? Oh, 2 years. I said, 2 years and they're still in the plastic cover. But we don't want to just decorate our shelf with the Bhagavatam. We want to read the Bhagavatam so we can decorate our hearts. So end here, and then is the next part we can hear from the children.
Thank you so much, Mataji. That was so nice. We really are very, very grateful. So we will like to call upon the children now.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to do as fast as I could, because I really It's such a special thing when you see the young children becoming Krishna conscious. And there's such a purity in the children. You know.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So we have some parents here, many of the parents, and also some teachers, some devotees who are taking responsibility of teaching the children. My wife Anand Kishori, Bharti Mataji, and Shirisha Mataji, they have been actively involved in this. So we will start with the kids now. Who would like to recite the shlokas first? Okay, we will start with Anika. Let's start with Anika. Can you come close to the laptop? Okay. Okay. You want to recite some more? Or?
I have one more shloka. It
Yes.
says, Vacha dharma kshetre karu kshetre samapetaya yutsava mamaka pandavaseva kemu kurata sanjaya.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now I have one request.
Yes.
I see you, Prabhu, have very good tilak on, but everyone should have very good tilak on. Yes, this tilak beautifies the face is beautiful, but it becomes more beautiful by the application of tilak. You know.
Yes. So this is a nice recommendation that we all can apply tilak. That will beautify our forehead. So something to keep in mind.
This is for the ladies. This is bona fide makeup. Ladies sometimes like to put a little, you know, but this is a bona fide. It beautifies the face, but it also reminds you of Krishna. The minute you see tilak, you know, here's a devotee of Krishna, and it's a way to preach even. Hello, Hare Krishna. Who's that?
Okay, so Piyush and Archita wants to go next.
Sure. We prepared 21 shlokas, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Hare Krishna. Dhritarashtravacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samavetayi utsava mamaka pandavasreva kirma kurvata sanjaya karpanya dosho pahata svabhava prichami tvam dharma samudacheta yashreyashandakshitam bruhi tanme Shishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapanyam Natva evaham jatunasham Natvam neme janadipa Nacheva na bhavishyama Sarvavayam mataparam Dehinosmin yatha dehe Kaumaram yovanam jara Tatha dehantara prapte Dhirastatra namuyati Matra sparshas kanteya Shitoshna sukha dukkada Agama paino nityastam satikshashva bharata Najayate miryate va kadachin Nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano Nahanyate hanyamani sharire Vasamsi jirani yatha vahaya Navani granati naroparani Tatha sarirani vahaya janani Anyani samyati navani dehi Nainam chandanti shastrani Nainam dahati pavaka Na chainam kleviyanti apo Na soshati marita Achiryo yam madayo yam Maklevyo shosya evacha Nitya sarvagata sanur Achaloyam sanatana Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya ja Tasmad aparihari arte natvam sochitam arhasi Neha vikrama nashoste pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya Vyavasayamika buddhir ekaha kuru nandana Bahushakahi Anantasha Buddhayo Vivashayinam Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam Taya Farta Shetasam Virasayamika Buddhir Samadhavna Vidyate Trigunya Vishaya Veda Nishtrigunya Vivarjuna Nirdvandva Nitya Sattvasto Niyogakshema Atmavan Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana makarma phala hetururmate sangostva karmani vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavirjam rasopyasya param drishta nivartate Dayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu vijayate sangat sanjayate kama kama krodho vijayate Krohadvavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibrama smriti bhramsad buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyate ragadesha vimurteshu vishayanindriyesharan atmavesha videyatma prasadamadi gacchate Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagati samyami yasyam jagati bhutani sa nisha pashito mune Yagnatat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kanteya mukta sangha samachara. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, excellent, great job.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Hari Bol, great. So Urvi, do you want to go next?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, you can turn on your camera also and you can get started.
Like for some reason when I unmute, I have to turn off my camera.
No problem. You can keep it off and then recite.
Ajittam samadatum nasaknoshi maeswaram abhyasa yogena tato mamichhapatum dhananjaya.
I see you. Now I see you.
Thank you.
Put your head up a little bit.
Can you show your face?
Yeah.
Great.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very good, Urvi. Okay, Rohan, I can see Rohan's hand. Rohan, you want to go next? And then if Nitya wants to go after you, then Nitya can also go.
Yes, Prabhuji. I want to do one chapter. Should I do half of it or the full chapter?
Let's do half of it.
Okay. Dhritarashtra dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsava mamaka pandavascheva kimakurvata sanjaya Dushtva tu pandavani kam vyoram duryodhanastada acharyam upasangamya raja vachanam abravit pasyetam pandu putranam acharya mahatim chamum Yoram Debada Putrena Tavasishyena Dhimata Attasurama Heshvasa Bhimarjuna Samayadi Yuyudano Viratascha Dupadasha Mahardaha Yustaketa Shekitanaha Kasi Rajasha Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bojasha Saibya Sharnara Pungavaha Yadamanyusha Vikranta Uttamaujosha Viryavan Saubhadruduropadayastra Sarve Eva Mahardaha अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान् निबोध विजोत्तमा नायका मम सैन्यस्य संयातं तान् ब्रवीमि ते भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जय अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिस्तदेव च अन्ये च बहवः सुरा मदत्ते त्यक्त्वा जीविता नानाशस्त्रपहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं तु दमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् अयनेषु स सर्वेषु यदा भागमवस्थिता भीष्मरेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्वे हि तस्य सञ्जननं हर्षं कुरु वृद्धा पितामहः सिंहनादं विनद्योचे शङ्खं दद्मो प्रतापवान् ततशङ्काश्चर्यशापनवानकगोमुखाः सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्ता सशब्दस्तुमुलोऽभवत् ततः श्वेतहरेर्युक्ते महति स्यन्दने स्थितो माधवः पाण्डवाश्चैव दिव्यो शङ्कुप्रदत्मधुः Panchachanyam Hrishikeso Deva Dattam Dhananjaya Pandram Dadmo Mahasankam Bhima Karma Vikodaraha Anantam Vijayam Raja Kunti Putra Yudhishthiraha Nakuyasaha Devasya Sugo Shomani Pushpakau Kashyasya Parameshwasa Zikandicha Mahardaha Vistabyumno Viratasya Satyakishya Parajitaha Dupado Drupadayastra Sarvasa Prithavipate Saubhadvasya Mahabahu Sankan Dadmo Pratak Pratak Sagosho Datrastranam Hridayani Vradarayat Nabascha Pradavim Cheva Tumalobhyanunadayan Atavyavastitan Dushtva Dartarastran Kapitvajaha Pravarte Shastra Sampate Danurdapyandavaha Hrishikesam Tadavakyamedamahamahi Arjuna Vacha Senayorubayor Madhye Vadam Stapayamekshita Yavadetan Hrishikesam Yodu.
So I think Rohan, you did a great job. Excellent. And he knows the whole chapter actually. But because of the lack of time, I think we can stop here. Great job, Rohan. Excellent. Now, Nitya wants to say. Nitya is 2.5 years old and she knows the shlokas from Bhagavad Gita and she's going to speak now.
Wow.
Nitya?
Ishwara.
We can't see her face. Can you bring him down? Bring her down a little bit.
Matra.
Okay, now.
No, they have.
Dehinosmi.
You already said that, Nitya.
Paritranaya.
Yum yum. Bhavataha.
Vitrastuvacham.
Samaveta Yutvaha Mamakapanda Vaseva Kumakoda Sanjira Udamulam Tasakam Aswatam Babur Yavdalam Sandamsi Yasla Panani Yastam Veda Saveda Veda Badam Pushpam Palantoram Yomi Bhakta Palasyati.
Excellent job. Great job. Very good. Very good. So she likes to read Bhagavad Gita also. She cannot read, but she brings it to her mom and she reads it and she tells stories and she likes attending the classes. Very good. Very good.
She tries reading the Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 12.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
So,
If you give it while they're young, they're going to keep it. Yeah.
thank you. Om, what are you going to recite?
I'm going to recite the whole 12th chapter.
Okay, can you do half of it just because of lack of time? So Om knows 12th chapter and 15th chapter, both the chapters, and second chapter he knows as well, more than like 70%, but he's going to only recite half of the 12th chapter. Am I right?
Can I recite all 20 if I can? Because I really want to.
You really want to? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. अर्जुन उवाच एवं तततयुक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्य अक्षरमव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमः श्रीभगवान् उवाच मया वेश्यमनो ये मां नित्ययुक्त उपासते श्रद्धया पर्योपेताः हस्ते मे युक्ततमा मता ये त्वक्षरमनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवं संनियमेन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धया ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रतः क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मया सन्न्यस्य मत्परा अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मया वेश्यत चेतसां मय्येव मन आदत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं न वेशय निविशिष्यसि मय्येव अतः ऊर्ध्वं न संशय अतः चित्तं समादातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्मा परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि अथैतदपि शक्तोऽसि कर्तुमुद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागः ततः कुरु यतात्मवान् श्रेयो हि ज्ञानम् अभ्यासात् ज्ञानं ध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागच्छान्तिन नर्तिरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रिकरुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखः सुखक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पिता मनो बुद्धिर् यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यस्मान्नो जुजते लोको लोकान्नो जुजते च यः हर्षमर्षभयोद्वेगी मुक्तो यस्य च मे प्रियः अनापेक्षा श्रुतेर्दक्ष उदासीनो गतौ व्यतः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हेष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभ परित्यागी भक्तिमान्य स मे प्रियः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च ततमानपमानयोनोः शीतोष्णासुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दोस्तिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टः येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्तिर्मतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्मामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धानमत्परमाः भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रिया ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे भक्ति योगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः। हरे कृष्ण।
Excellent. Great job. Okay, Swasti, would you like to come forward now?
Yes. Hare Krishna. नैनं चिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पापका न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषति मारुता. The meaning is the soul cannot be destroyed by a weapon, it cannot be burnt by fire, it cannot be withered by the wind, it cannot be spoiled by water. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati dadaham bhakti uparatam ashnami prayitatmana. The meaning is if you give a fruit, water, flower, or a leaf to Krishna with love and devotion, he'll always accept it. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yadjahosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kanteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, do it for Krishna. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthaparnathaya sambhavami yuge yuge. When there's disturbance in the world, Krishna will come in an avatar and destroy the demons and protect the devotees millennium after millennium. Dehinosmin yatadehe kaumadam yovanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatar namoyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes from boyhood to youth to old age, when the body dies, the soul will move into another body at that time. Vedeshu yangeshu tapasu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi panam sthanam upaiti chadyam moghasha mogha karmano mogha jnana vichetasa rakshasam masurim chaiva prakritim mohanim shrita nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivrata kama Dvandvair vimukta asukadukha sangir gacchantya muda padamavyayam tat कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफले हेतुर्भुर् मा ते सङ्गुष्टो अकर्मणि तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन मामुपयन्ति ते अचिद्योऽयं मदायोऽयम् अक्लेदयो सोऽस्यैव च नित्यसर्वगतास्थान अचालोऽयं सनातन यं यं वापि स्मरं भावं त्यजति यन्तिकलेवरं तं तमेवेति कौन्तेय सदा तद्भावभाविता.
Great job, Swasti. Excellent. Amazing. Great job. Excellent. Okay. Chaitanya is there now?
What?
Hare Krishna. Can you turn on the video, Ashutosh Prabhu?
I think it's on, I believe.
Oh, great. Chaitanya, go ahead.
Go. Bolo, Sarvadharma.
Thermo Pichacha Mamekam Thermometer Therapa Vero Muchatami Machisa.
Very good. Sarvadharman, great. Excellent. Okay, who would like to go next? Let's do quickly because we don't want to take too long. Is there anything Aradhya wants like to recite? Yes, Aradhya's hand is up. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, can I say what this precious to
You can say.
You want to say shloka, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Machi, Aradhya also sings very good kirtan and artis. She knows Tulsi Aarti, Damodar Ashtakam, and today she is going to recite the. She knows Damodar Ashtakam by heart, but she's going to recite shloka. Am I right?
Matis precious to kunti asitu shasuka dukada agama pahi nityas tamse diksha shravadita.
What is the meaning?
The meaning is Krishna says, Arjun, that we should be same in sadness and happiness. We should do our duties properly. Hari Bol. Nainam Chindani Sashtani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka, Nachayam Lidayan Tapo, Nashu Shanti Marukta.
What is the meaning?
The meaning is that the Atma cannot get cut, killed, and spoiled, and burned, and dry, and wet.
Why?
Because it's eternal. Very cool.
Excellent. Very good, Aradhya. Great. Great. Okay, Ryan will go next. Ryan, please go forward.
Prabhuji.
Mataji, Ryan is 10 years old and he chants 64 rounds on Ekadashis most of the time, otherwise 32 sometimes. And he is learning Sanskrit from Vrindavan, like they do teleconference, I think. And they used to be in Lansing. They were serving here. They just recently moved to Austin because of work related. So Ryan has joined from there, so he's going to get started. Ryan,
So Prabhuji, so should I do half of the fourth chapter or the full?
why don't you do 10 or 15 shlokas? Just do 15 shlokas.
Okay.
Is that okay? Thank you.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Imam Vivaswate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Mano Vishwakave Bravit Evam Parampara Praptam Manrajarsayo Viduhu Sakaraneha Mahata Yogo Nashta Parantapa Sa Evayamaya Tedya Yogaha Prokta Puratanaha Bhaktusi Saka Cheti Rahasyam Hi Taduttamam Arjuna Uvacha Aparam Bhavato Janma Param Janma Vivasvataha Katam Me Tadvijaniyam Tvamadau Proktavaniti Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bahuni Me Vyatitani Janmani Tava Charjana Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Natvam Veta Parantapa Ajopi Sannavyayatma Bhutanamishwaropi San Prakritim Swamadishtaya Sambhavanyatma Mayaya Yada Yada Hi Dhammasya Glanirбhavati Bharata Abhyuttanamadharmasya Tadatmanam Srijamyaham परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नेति मामेति सोऽर्जुन वीतरागभया क्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रितः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूतमद्भावमागताः ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मनुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मनुष्ये लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा चातुर्वर्ण्यमया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्धि अकर्तारमव्ययम् न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां यो विजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः पूर्वतरं कृतं हरि बोल Thank you, devotees.
Excellent. Hare Krishna. Very good. Very good, Ryan. Okay, we'll look real quick. So Nandini wants to go next. Or maybe in the meantime, as Nandini is preparing, maybe we can have Twisha. Oh, Nandini is here. Okay, go ahead, Nandini. Somehow I think their mic is not unmuting. Nandini's. Okay, so we'll wait for Nandini. We'll see if Twisha or Navya would like to recite some shloka. Go ahead, Navya.
Krishna, Yesham Sattata Yuktanam Bhajtam Priti Purvakam Vidami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mamupyanti Te Yesham Eva Anukampartam Aham Jnana Jantama Vishami Atma Bhavastu Jnanatapena Bhasvata Hare Krishna.
Excellent, excellent, great job. Thank you. Okay, Twisha, you want to go quickly?
Yes, Hare Krishna everyone. So I'm going to recite my favorite shlokas. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam dharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयं यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्ति उपायतम् अश्नामि प्रयतात् नमः नैनं चिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकान् चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो नाशोषयति मारुता धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवा मामका पाण्डवाश्चैव किम कुर्मद संजय कार्पण्यदोषोपहता स्वभावं पृच्छामि त्वं धर्मसम्मूढचेता यश्रेयस्यानिशितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् हरे कृष्ण thank you
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Krishna, and she's ready.
Okay, Nandini is speaking.
Hare Krishna. Dharmashetre Kurukshetre Samvetayoyotsava Mamaka Pandavacheva Kimkar Karvat Sanjaya Mata Prashastu Konteya Shitasna Sukhatukata Mamaka Pandavacheva Kimkar Karvat Sanjaya Dharmashetre no. Dehinosmin Yatate Eko Yoga Prasto Pajai.
No, that's okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
Great job. Excellent. Very nice. Okay. So thank you to all the kids who did so nicely. Ansh, you want to recite? Come. Ansh would like to recite from Brahma Samhita. Ishvara.
Ishvara Parma Krishna Satchidananda Vigra Anade Radhe Govind Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakarasatma Shukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vritishu Surabi Nantam Lakshmi Sastra Shata Sambram Sevivanam Govindamani Parasham Tamaham Brajami.
Okay, Om Purnamada Purna from Isupnishad.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate.
Ishavasya.
Ishavasya Sarvam Kintu Jagatam Jagat Yena Taptena Bhajita Nagita Kasite
Siddhanam.
Sittanam
Okay. Namo Pankajanamaya.
Namo Pankajanabhaya Namo Pankajanabhine Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajamine.
Okay. Narayana Parasara.
Narayana Prasarve Nakutasjanaya Prati Svarbhapya Dharmasya Traite Matobhyat
Sarga Pavarga Narkeshu.
Sarga Parvarga Narkeshu Abhitobhyat Darshanam.
Okay. Neha Vikram.
Neha Vikram Nashoti Pratyavayana Navikyate Svarbhapya Dharmasya Traite Matobhyat.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for reciting. Okay, thank you to all the kids, all the parents, all the teachers for training the children. And thank you so much, Malati Prabhu, for your time and for staying and encouraging all the kids. They really were wanting to share their love in this way with you. And thank you so much for your time.
It's part of my day. So thank you.
So let's thank Malti Prabhu by loudly 3 times chanting Hari Bol and request and pray that she can keep coming and blessing all of us. Loudly 3 times. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
So of course we would want to have more and more devotees. Oh, I think Mataji left. Okay, so Mataji left. Okay. I was going to say we have more and more devotees who want to share. I didn't even see Nevan earlier and we missed out. But we can, all of us can hear from Nevan. Can you recite Nevan? Please, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna recite 2 shlokas.
3 shlokas, please. And I'm going to send this video to Mataji. Okay? So she will see it as well.
Krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibrama smriti bramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. And the meaning is, so when you get angry, your mind gets bewildered, and when your mind gets bewildered, the intelligence is lost, and when the intelligence is lost, you fall back to the material pool, or you make wrong decisions. And my next shloka is Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Shirvijaya Buddhir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. And in this shloka, Krishna is saying that you must act like Arjuna and act like an archer, because an archer is really focused, and if you act like an archer, you'll be really focused, and then surrender yourself to Krishna, and then if you surrender yourself to Krishna,
Oh, I think
That's
it's yes. Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you, Nivan. Big round of applause. So let's thank all the parents and all the kids by one loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, all of us together, and praying for everybody, all these children. We'll do it loudly. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram
Ram Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much,
Hare
each one of you,
Krishna.
for joining.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we hope to have your association regularly like this. We'll end it for today. Hare Krishna. Mancha kalpatarvesya kripa sindhu
Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Shila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.